What's up, homies? This is Phreak, and this is an audio commentary, quite obviously, for WCReplays.com. Continue to leave comments for me because they're fun. They let me improve, they let me feel good about myself, that I'm cheerful while I'm doing this, which is a nice comment. I like, props to whoever said that. I don't like giving shoutouts to people in general, just saying their names, but, I will sort of comment on what you said, and you know who you are, so hey, whoever said you enjoy doing your commentaries and you give a, quote, friendly vibe, then prowess to you. But, I'm not gonna give you airtime specifically. Anyway, 15-second mark, 1x speed, Fog of War on as usual. My point of view, I'm Phreak hyphen, although you can just pronounce it Phreak if you're sane, for people such as, well, not myself. Yeah. So, human versus orc, pretty small map, something to expect harassment on, as you'll see how I adapt to that, both with and without the harassment. So, this is not a map you can very easily fast expand on, because that purge creep is very eager to purge your guys, and he can also cast lightning shield. It's generally just not great. Although all caster guys will start with 0 mana. That's something to realize. It does regenerate pretty quickly, and so by the time, the 2.5 mana mark when you're actually creeping it, they'll have a bit of mana, and they can usually cast some spells on you. Something just random info on wetlands. If you're going to FE with your ally, send your hero, let yourself tank the chain lightning, and then come with your army, because he's going to spend 120 mana on a chain lightning that'll hit 1 unit, and on top of that, your hero will have a reduction, as well as start healing over time, and you just kind of make that caster guy pretty useless. Just random info. Anyway, 15-second mark, 1x speed, Fog of War on, Phreak's point of view. I pronounced it right this time. Let's get this unpaused in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. While this is going on, you see an altar and barracks build, followed by a farm, and then going on gold, and then building another farm, and then going on wood, and etc. The way this build works is that it funnels off much of my base. There are going to be around 2 openings, one to the left of my altar. I believe heroes can fit through there. If not, at least wolves can. And there's going to be one towards the left side, next to this farm, to the right of the barracks. And until I mine those trees out, there won't be anything to the left of the barracks that you can get through with. And that's going to be where my tower is going to go, because that way he cannot get to the back of my base without going right through the tower, getting hit by it, and going through a very sharp funnel right there. Now, I'm almost certain you can't go through with a hero to the right side of my town hall to the altar, so only wolves can get in there, and it's pretty hard to trap wolves anyway. You just kind of use militia and attack them, and then they'll die really quickly. The best thing to do when you're getting hit by wolves is to overreact with militia. If you underreact, or if you react just enough, he's going to get some damage on some peasants, and he's going to do some good damage, as I just kind of said, and it's going to get really weak. It's either going to die, or it's going to get hurt, so that it'll be killed with the next wave. If you overreact with all your wood peasants, you'll kill him extremely quickly. He won't be able to do much damage at all, and he'll get a very quick 40 EXP. And as the wolves are dead, he's not going to be able to summon anymore for a long time. Now you notice I send this peasant out from the barracks up there to build a farm. Now, I'm not a huge scout farm guy, because Farseer harassment, it's very easy to come across a peasant, and, well, this is what he came for. You killed a peasant, and he's delaying your farm building, and you're probably going to have to cancel the farm, and overall you lost some money. I like building scout farms out sort of at the edge of my base, because I can look for towering. Scout farms in the middle of the map don't exactly look for towering. If you're very aware, you can see some peasants, some peons going along, but otherwise you're going to miss you're going to miss any tower attempts. So by building them out like this, there's very few places you can actually hide towers inside my base, so, I know overall if he's going to make any. That's right here I make my arcane tower, so that if a hero comes in to harass, I'll be in pretty good shape to stop it. Now I take the water metal and put him in here in front, so that he tanks pretty much everything. Almost all the melee creeps are hitting him. Not all, but most are, which is good. Militia taking damage, which is pretty much better than footmen, just because I guess it's a trade-off, really. If your footmen or your militia are damaged a lot by creeps, they're going to be easy kills for the Farseer. If footmen are hit a lot, then they're going to be easy kills for the Farseer also. So you want to balance it out, really, since units regenerate anyway. I only have one really injured peasant, and that's fair. That's acceptable, because fine, he'll kill one, but generally in my build I make 2 extra, so that I can tech right away and not have to worry about losing a few and having no wood. You will see that since I don't get harassed, as you know, I don't see a Farseer coming in just yet. I'm not going to have to worry about harassment, but it's still something that I prepare for. It's smart to do. It's better to overreact than to underreact, because, well, if you overreact, then you spend some extra money, usually gold. If you underreact, you're going to lose more than that. in replacing them. So, just, making the Arcane Tower. It's still a tower. It'll still be useful throughout the game. It has a little bit of sight range, so I can look out for towers, opposing towers, obviously. Just a tiny bit better. I think they have enough more range than farms that it actually overlooks them. I can't say for certain, but that's a guess. And, if his hero ever does come in, later on, well, I've still got it there. So, I mean, it's not like it's useless throughout the game. Also, with building extra 2 peasants, they're still there throughout the game, and, I always have that extra little bit of wood income. It's not bad. So right here, I'm going to focus down burrows, because burrows are pretty easy to kill. As you can see, they have 600 hit points, 5 armor. They're not durable. So this is going to be one quick kill right here. I'm going to get another one as soon as I can. I notice he's still at Great Hall, which is a little odd. Normally he'd be teching, so he definitely has a slow tech right here. Now you notice I send back this injured footman just enough that he's not focused, and I have just enough damage to actually kill that burrow, mainly because the water elementals haven't been nerfed in damage yet. But whatever. I'm trying to get myself some good positioning. His peasants go back to work. I'm focusing the wolves first because they have the most damage to hit point ratio. Grunts don't have much more damage, but they have a lot more hit points, and so killing them is harder, and they don't have as much effect overall. Now I let my footmen continue to attack while I chase him down with my archmage, because it's 200 gold. Even if I lose a footman from not microing, it's still worth it, because killing a grunt versus killing a footman, it's good in my trade. So now I've killed 3 grunts so far. I lost something like 2 or 3 footmen. Still in my favor. I'm going to kill this under construction burrow. Said he cannot make any more guys. He techs now. He's not going to be able to reproduce any more units. However, my archmage is low. All my footies are weak, so I'm just going to send them out and let myself recuperate later on. Now he still does have those 2 wolves, his Farseer, and the 1 grunt. Not great for me. I wasn't really thinking about the fact that he didn't have any more units because I killed his burrows. So I probably could have actually continued to fight here and quickly rallying units to myself. I could have possibly... what am I trying to say? I could have possibly just continued the fight and actually won it there. Although I would have probably lost units to his Farseer and whatnot. But you see right there, I use staff teleportation so I can use the little healing thing as quickly as I can. He's, of course, focusing each and every footman, but I still get some healing on so that they live a little bit longer. A little upset by having to take all that damage. He kills 1 so far, and I'm quickly having to use a water elemental. And I use Clarity and a healing thingy to quickly bring my units back up, because since he's got 2 grunts out now, I know it'd be very easy for him to kill my footman. So I'm overreacting rather than underreacting and quickly burning through some healing items to try to get their hit points up so that I can survive a fight. I use the Clarity so I can quickly get the mana up to summon more water elementals. Again, overreacting rather than losing footmen, because Clarities cost 70 gold, 1 footman 135 and 40 experience. I think you can guess which ones I'd rather spend, the 70 gold. So since I've got some hit points back on my footman, the healing thing's about done. I decided, well, I can push him off now. I advanced a little bit. He's probably reproduced his burrows by now, so he can produce units again. He's probably got quite a bit of gold extra, simply because, well, he hasn't been able to make anything in the time being. But I'm not really thinking of that. I'm just thinking of massing up my guys. I have my Mountain King out now, so that's a good bonus right there. If you heard my last commentary about, the unit that's effective now, the immediate advantage, whatever I was saying there, that fun stuff, the Mountain King is one of them, because you can knock out grunts pretty well, although rifles are pretty frail in small numbers. As they grow larger in number, their focus fire combined with Stormbolt is going to be some huge damage. You notice right here I target the Kobold Geomancer first, because he's got slow, and if I can keep only 1 unit slowed, which happens to be a water elemental of all things, that's good. Then I target the guy with the big fat aura next, because he has very high damage, and, well, he's got the aura that increases everyone else's damage, so getting rid of him is a good priority. So you want to kill spellcasters first, and then sort of the aura guys next. Alternatively, I could have killed the little medium armor guys with Bash. That actually probably would have been a better idea because they die faster. But seeing as my army was composed of a large amount of piercers and hero damage, only 3 footmen are going to gain the damage type bonus. The rest of them are going to get a weakness or just level out. So I decided that using piercers against heavy armor units would be smarter. So that's what I do. If you have a larger melee force, of course you'd want to kill the medium armor guys first. But You know, that's just my thinking right there. I use a Stormbolt because I see one sticking out, and he's not really engaging me yet. MK's in a bad spot, so I run him back quickly. I saved you guys right there. Quickly putting back that Footman. Unfortunately, eats the Chain Lightning. Orc gets lucky there. I eat the big healing potion, and I'm like, alright, let's kill some more grunts. You know, I eat a healing scroll also to bring up some Footman hit points, as well as some Rifleman hit points. However, that Rifle's in a bad spot, and he gets stunned, so he's going to fall. So he goes down. Losing some Footman also, but I get my Mountain King level 2, so he's got Bash. You notice right there I bashed a guy, and got a kill just before the stun went off. Now quickly Stormbolt this dude, and I'm just going to focus him down. So I'm just trying to focus on what I can. Since the Mountain King currently has mana, I might as well use all of it when I can. Letting the water elemental tank for me, big deal, doesn't matter. I think I'm going to actually let it die, and he gets some experience for it. Would have been possible to deny it, possibly, but whatever. Now I use the little teleport thingy again on my Mountain King, pick up some items. I eat the Clarity, and I bring the Regeneration Scroll over with the rest of my army. Quickly trying to regroup. I pick up a Healing Scroll on my Archmage, so that I can, well, heal up my army with the Healing Scroll. So I regroup. I see that he's not really chasing me, so I'm like, okay, let's pop the healing. And I should do that in just a second, if I'm not retarded. Although I am, so, you know, don't know what to tell you. But I finally realized that he's not chasing me, and I pop that, and I'm going to turn around and start fighting him again. I think. Maybe. We'll find out. I know I do actually turn around, but I'm just a little slow in the uptake. So I finally do realize that, yes, I do have hit points on my units, and that it is possible to fight him. However, I was currently working with that scout farm dude, putting up a scout farm and putting him somewhere else and building another one, etc. So he has to put up another scout farm. So the reason for these scout farms now is that now that he's no longer doing a big-time Farsi harassment, my peasant's pretty safe wandering around the map. Since I needed the extra food anyway, I just pointed at the monitor for some reason. Well, it's not that bad. You know, he's not going to get killed, and I need the farms anyway, because I do need food in general. So whatever. So I just quickly focused down the Farseer. Unfortunately, he eats some healing. And then, pow, up goes some summons, and I'm like, oh crap. And for some reason, I let my little priests do their thing and get away somewhere. So I quickly bring them back in, try to cast a Dispel, possibly, maybe. There we go, Dispel some of them. Lose the Mountain King, unfortunately. So I'm now in a bad spot. Although do we have rifles plus healing, you know, I can focus down some grunts. However, I see my Archmage in a bad spot, hit by slow poison. I'm just like, alright, I gotta get out. Because I don't want my Archmage to get followed, stunned, and killed. So it's better to overreact than underreact, and I just TP out because, you know, I don't need another TP really soon. You know, I'll be okay without one. It's a small map, I don't need to, like, really get around super fast. So I just eat the TP and say it's worth it. You know, I'm regrouping somewhat, letting my priest heal up stuff, which is smart. And I'm just kind of amassing up. And I'm going to move again because, let's see, what am I going to do right here? I forget. Oh yeah, I sell the item. And I think I get some more units, okay. I think I just tried a Rifleman. Because, well, plus 6 damage on an Archmage, not a big deal. Getting Rifleman is, because the Rifleman, I guess it's not slow poison, but whatever. I think I actually thought it was slow poison and sort of reacted to that. So I don't want to lose my Archmage and TP'd out. Anyway, back to what's going on now. Well, I see his army just barely. I'm like, okay, sweet, let's kill that. So, you know, I've got this little sort of semicircle around him. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of grunts with Endurance Aura and +2 armor, which is bad. So I use another Dispel, get rid of a lot of the armor upgrade, and I managed to kill a grunt also. You know, so I get to run this Rifleman back a little bit. Unfortunately, he goes right in there, stomps, and does some damage right there, but I'm still knocking out grunts pretty quickly. Focusing down this assassin because he has high damage, pretty low hit points. You notice the bash right there works pretty nicely. Get a little bit of a stun, get a little bit of damage, and I get to kill him right here. That's getting buffed in 115. Focusing again on another grunt. Sorks cost less than grunts, so it's okay to lose one for a grunt. Not a big deal. However, the rifles are getting hit, so I'm going to quickly double-click this one in the portrait, and I run him forward to get him out of the way. And he gets a little bit of uphill, and he's not getting hit right now. I couldn't run him back because he would have gotten hit. However, he sends a wolf and kills it anyway. But, you know, I'm killing 2 wolves now. I'm finally microing back into a rifle and letting him live. And I realize, well, all he's got is heroes, all I've got is piercing. This is not a great fight for me. And nor does he have enough damage, so we both just kind of run away. Rifles don't own heroes, and just 2 heroes don't own a Mountain King. So we both realize we probably can't kill anything. and let ourselves heal up. Now, something that happened in my mindset this game is a couple big sighs of relief, as he didn't follow me around to my base when I had all those red riflemen and red footies earlier in the game, when he could have used wolves in his Farseer and kind of suicided into them, sort of kamikaze attack, and just sort of try to own them as quickly as possible. When there are red units, it's okay to like use a grunt and lose your grunt to killing 2 red footmen, because those footmen will heal back, and they'll be green footmen later on, and so killing them, 270 gold versus 200 gold, it's smart. So go ahead and do that whenever you can. And so now I see his expansion. I'm going to kill his guard tower as quickly as possible. And he TP's in, so I'm like, okay, I got to get ready. So I'm going to back up, a little slow, but whatever. And I see him TP in. I see he doesn't have a lot of units, but he has this Farseer sticking out, and he's taking damage fast. So he eats a bash, and then eats a stun. And I click his item, see that he doesn't have anything but a salve. So I'm like, okay, he's going to get a free kill. And I just kill it right away. Now he does this big fat stomp thing, and I'm like, oh crud. However, my Archmage is leveling up pretty nicely. Priests are healing up that Rifleman pretty well also. I get a nice bash on a grunt, get a kill. And right here I'm going to get another bash pretty soon. Just bash and another kill. So you can see that bash is actually doing pretty nicely. It's stopping his damage output a little bit. And doing pretty good damage on its own. So I see that I'm going to use a healing scroll. Focus on the TC a little bit, can't quite do it, but I get a kill. Level 5 Archmage, getting some kills, so my hero levels are extremely high, and I'm going to kill some peasants, or peons I should say, because it's free reign. I don't want him to have his expansion, and I get another bash, again, denying some gold income. I can't remember if I got level 2 bash or level 2 stormbolt. They're actually both useful. The extra 10% on bash is pretty nice, getting 1/4 of the time. Is actually a pretty good permastun. It's not obviously an actual permastun, but that will happen a lot, considering that the Mount King does attack a lot of times, and since Stormbolt doesn't increase their stun duration anymore, the actual damage and stun that you get from bash actually kind of averages out. Also considering the fact that there aren't any plus mana items aside from creeping the red camps and hoping for a Pendant of Mana. I think that'll drop. There's no way to get plus mana on your Mount King anyway. Aside from chewing through potions, which is not very possible without an expansion, because making units is also sort of important. I just give him a passive skill set. I can concentrate on bolting. Clap doesn't do, I feel, a whole lot against Orc, as they're slow enough already. And the actual AoE damage doesn't do very much, since Grunts have 800 hit points. They're not ghouls. They don't die quickly to Clap. So I find that Bash is actually better against sort of the single unit-oriented Grunts. Single unit oriented raiders. There, I got level 2 Stormbolt. As you saw, he took a fat amount of damage from that. I'm going to quickly use my priests after the stun and dispel the wolves. Adept priests are extremely vital when you're fighting a Farseer, because you will completely nullify that spell. I'll guarantee you. You add in a healing scroll, and you've nullified the Farseer. I will guarantee you it's going to be pretty sweet. Something to realize is when you go up against high level Orc heroes, you will need some healing scrolls, because seriously, Shockwave and Chain Lightning will rip you up. Priests won't do enough. They can't heal every unit unless you have like freaking 12 priests, which 1 costs a lot, and 2 don't deal any damage, and 3 takes a lot of food. It's not worth your time. It's better to actually get rifles and whatnot. If you fast expand, do a 2-rax rifle, 1 arcane priest. Pretty much, I don't favor Sorks that much. Partially, now that they're nerfed, even then, before then, as you saw, this was 114, I didn't make many Sorks. Generally because I feel, well, I've got a Mount King, and when I'm focused on something, I usually bolt it, or I get a bash on it, and using slow doesn't do that much for me. By the time they start running, usually they've lost everything already, and slow doesn't do that much for me. Nothing more than a bolt would have done. So I don't really feel that it's that useful. Getting slow anymore. Also, they're fairly easy kills, and they don't have any support to your army other than reducing a tiny amount of damage. I'd rather heal some damage and dispel some wolves, because that'll prevent more damage and heal more damage, and it's real. I'd rather have the priests, just overall. They're also cheaper. Pretty much finished this commentary. Later